Okay, so why don't we start by trying to review, to see again what happened. Let's get a clear picture of that. So why don't you tell me what you noticed, what happened, tell me the story of that lesson.
The objective is to read and write and play the game.
Okay.
So I organized first. I don't want to students know the letters and words related to our lesson. And then we practice the writing, the alphabet from U and Z.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the time the lesson title is Where is the Namdaemun? That's a key expression. So we review that sentence and then we practice the dialogue with my students. And the last part we played a game, we using the map and dice.
Mm-hmm.
And but after teaching, I felt our class students are mixed up. Their level is very different. Some students are very good, and
Mm-hmm.
the other students very low level.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm always worried about that. How can I organize my classes?
Mm-hmm.
And I'd like to everyone participated in happily in my class.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes I felt so I want to improve my skill about that.
Okay, good. So, well, let's go back. Can you remember a particular time when you noticed the problems with the different levels? Can you describe that moment for me?
When I writing the letters, some students the letter they didn't know that the letters well, but the other students already learned the letters, so it's a little bit boring. I think that if I'm a level up student, I'm a little bit boring. I feel, and when I ask the sentence, and when I ask the questions using the letter, some level up students can understand my questions, and they try to answer my questions, but the other students, I think they didn't understand my questions.
What makes you think that? What did you notice that made you think they didn't understand?
When I look at them, their face expression is not good.
Okay.
Yeah, and they didn't raise your hands to answer my questions.
All right.
And
so your explanation, because they didn't raise their hands, you're saying that you would explain that they didn't understand. Are there any other reasons they might not raise their hands? Can you think of?
And when I look at their books or some notebooks, some students fill in the blanks or write the letters very well, but some other students they didn't accomplish their writing. So
okay, so you have a lot of evidence that there is difference. Okay, and let's think about how we can explain those differences. Now, you've already said you think some of those students who didn't raise their hands or they didn't complete their books, maybe they didn't understand. Let's think of other possible explanations. So one is maybe they didn't understand. What could another one be?
Maybe a bit shy to speak.
Maybe they were shy. That's another possible one, isn't it? What could another possible one be?
They already know that, so they don't need to say.
Yeah.
They don't need to say my question, say the answer to me.
Could
Just,
be. Yeah. Could be. Maybe they're so good, so confident.
Yeah.
They don't want to practice.
Yeah.
Could be. Yeah. Any other possible explanation?
They worried about their mistake.
That's a bit like shy, isn't it? Or maybe they just don't want to make a mistake. Could be, couldn't it? They don't want to lose face.
Yeah.
Anything else?
They don't understand what I'm saying, my direction.
Could be. Could be they didn't understand the instructions.
And they are not interested in English.
Could be they're not interested in English, they're just not motivated. Okay, well we've got a lot of reasons there. Can we remember them all? What did we have? They don't understand.
Yeah, they don't understand.
They're shy.
They're not interested.
They're not interested. They didn't understand the instructions.
Yeah. Confidence. They already learned that. So
They already learnt it, so they can't be bothered to.
no motivation.
No motivation.
And
We have another one. I can't remember what the other one is. Help! I can't remember what the other one was. But I think that's enough. Okay. So let's think a little bit more deeply now then. We've got a range of possible explanations. How can we decide which of those might be correct? Do you know something more about those students that I don't know that might help you? Or can you remember something you learned at university that might help you make the decision?
Could you more
Explain again. Okay. So we need to make a decision about which of those possible reasons is the right one. Because if we get it wrong, you might do something that wouldn't help. Okay? So we need to think about which of those explanations is correct. And I'm wondering, I'm sure there's lots more things you know that will help us make the decision. So let's take them one by one. You say they don't understand. Well, let's take they're shy. What do you know about the pupils who didn't raise their hands, those particular pupils? What do you know about them? Are they shy generally? Do you think that's right?
Yeah.
What else do you know about them?
In every class, just their voice is very small.
Okay.
So I can hear that, and it just we have a lot of classes with them, so
you know them very well. Yes, of course.
So
So what's your feeling? Which is the real reason? What do you think?
I think sometimes I try to compliment. I give compliment to the students to speak up.
Okay, hang on. That's you're looking for a solution now. Wait a minute, we haven't got there. What's the real reason for those students not raising their hand? What do you think it is? Is it that they didn't understand you?
Yeah.
Or is it that they're shy?
Yeah.
Or is it that they're frightened of making a mistake? Or is it that they're bored because they know it? What do you think?
They don't understand, or they don't know the answer, or I think they think it's difficult to answer the question. So they didn't understand the lesson well. So
And they don't want to make a mistake.
Yeah,
sounds to
right.
me.
Yeah.
So we've sort of got all of those reasons in a way, haven't we? Okay, so let's think about what you learnt at university about that subject that might help you think what to do about it. Okay, so what did you learn about making mistakes, about shy, about not understanding? What have you learnt about that?
Sometimes I give a clue to say to say some answer. For example, if I ask something is this pen or eraser? Is this eraser or pencil? They can, even though they didn't know what it is in English, if I ask pencil or eraser, they can catch it what it is because they remember, they are learned already. So I can, that kind of method, it is it's helpful to shy students. And also the individual activity is a little bit difficult to a shy students. So the first we have to pair work and group working.
Exactly. Before you ask them to do that. Okay, so that's a good idea. Yeah.
Group working is helpful to the students, and sometimes when you have a group working, when I try to activities with the group with students, they also worried about their mistake in front of the students.
Are they? Okay.
Yeah, so sometimes at the time I have to help one by one.
Yes.
One by one. And the other ones. And lots of practice. Practice is important.
Practice is
repeat
important.
Or repeating.
Did you learn anything about, and I don't know in that lesson whether you already did it, but putting students of a similar level together? Yeah? So that they're not shy about making mistakes, because so will their friend.
Yeah.
And they work it out together.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah. In my classes, student is just I didn't organize.
Okay.
I didn't consider their level.
Okay.
So just it's a random.
Random grouping.
Yeah,
yes.
random group. So yeah.
There's a lot of things written about how to group, and sometimes you want random grouping.
Yeah.
For older students maybe, if you want them to exchange opinions. Random grouping, you're likely to get different kinds of opinions.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's safer if you're in friendship. You sit by your friend. Groupings. And sometimes you might want to have same level grouping. And sometimes mixed level grouping. But then the better student has the job of being mini teacher. So it's a useful thing to think about, I think. How am I going to group them? Why? How would that help?
We'll consider that. Thank you.
So that's something else I learned at university. Okay, so thinking about the future with a class like that, or that class, what could you do to better help their learning, all the children, do you think?
As your advice, you already.
You had some really good ideas.
I will organize my students to consider their level, So
Possible. Try.
Yeah.
See. I don't know. Might help. Mm-hmm.
And that's so. And first, I will evaluate their speaking and their English ability. The first, I'd like to evaluating their speaking skills more clearly than now, and then I will organize to teach my students more more with their with using the recorder, and then more strategy using the strategies
Strategies.
to and I'll try to try to lesson more effective and more useful.
Yeah, but how?
How?
We all
Yeah.
try to do that. We need to think of little things to change, don't
Yeah.
we? And see if they work.
Yeah.
They may work, they may not. Something you said earlier about being frightened to speak out in front of the whole group.
Frightened or
Being shy, being frightened to make mistakes and speak out in front of the whole group. And something you remembered about do pair work or group work
Yeah.
first, then ask individuals. You said that, I think.
Yeah.
What do you think?
When I talk about our topic sentence or important words to a student that they are worried about their mistakes in advance, it can helpful to them for them to join the group activity.
That's an idea too, isn't it? Yes. Specialised help for. That's a good idea.
And could you tell me your questions? Could you tell me?
I was just saying, what are you going to? Have you got some ideas of what you're going to do, perhaps differently, to try and solve the problem that you're talking about, that you see, of some children not?
I'd like to motivate it to put more recognitions and more compliments.
Okay.
I give them more compliment. You can do it, or I want to cheer them up more than before.
Can we go back a minute to one of the explanations you had? And one of the explanations you had was maybe my instructions aren't clear, you said, when we were thinking about why they didn't answer. I wonder, what could you do about that? What have you learned something at university about that? What could you do about that?
To cheer them up.
To help them understand that all children understand your instructions or your directions. What could you do about that?
Sometimes I can write my direction on the board more clearly.
That's an idea.
Yeah, and sometimes I can show them the flashy cards, not only the words, and the visual. When the students watch some pictures or video, they can understand it more clear than my words. So I can.
Often true, isn't it? Yeah.
Show them.
You had a lot of visuals, though, didn't you?
Yeah.
So that was helpful.
And for example, when I explain some direction to students, I can using the first, second, or that kind of order.
Order. Yes.
And
did you learn things at university about giving instructions in the young learner classroom?
yeah, I learned short,
Yeah.
and simple.
Yeah.
Direction is good.
Mm-hmm.
I learned that,
Uh-huh.
but sometimes it's
Difficult.
yeah.
Isn't it? Yes, I
right,
know.
it's difficult.
In the real classroom, it can be a difficult thing. Well, I'll tell you something I learned, which was short and simple, and then demonstrate. Show them as well. And I think that can often help. Show them as well, and then, what else was it? Short and simple, demonstrate. Oh yeah, my tutor always used to tell me off if I said, "Do you understand?" I've got to check they understand somehow.
Comprehension check.
Yeah. So instruct short and simple, demo, check they know what they have to do.
Yeah.
And we used to always ask the better students
Yeah.
to help. Say it again.
Yeah.
Make sense.
Sometimes when I ask, "Do you understand?" or
Mhm.
"Are you with me?"
Mm.
but some students pretend.
Of course they do.
Yeah.
Because they're being dutiful, because they like you.
Yeah.
And we used to do it at school as well. Do you like, oh yeah. No.
Right, so,
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm. So I worried about that because they didn't, even though they don't understand or they didn't know the answer. So I think should I have to check students' work every finishing the activities. I wonder because so many students there are a lot of students in my class.
Mm. What do you think?
Yeah. So the pair work the other friends can check to each other.
It's a good idea. Yeah, yeah.
And we can choose the leader. We can choose the leader, team leaders, and
Mhm.
they can check their activities over.
What a brilliant idea. And that role could change.
Yeah.
So they take turns to
Yeah,
be team
right,
leader and
right.
check. What a good idea. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, great. Well, so I need to go soon. So I hope we've left the end with you feeling like you know, you have some ideas for things to try differently. There's a book I know about that might be really helpful. I found it really helpful. I don't know if you know it. It's by Jamie Moon.
I don't know.
It's called Teaching Children English. And I learnt a lot about working with young learners from that book. Some of the ideas I've shared with you have been from there, so it might be useful for you.
That's good.
Okay. So, thank you, Lee. See you again next week then.
Thank you for your. I'm really happy to meet you. Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.